everybody. It's Dave Strickland. Welcome back to the classroom. You know, when you're behind late in the game, the real enemy isn't your opponent. The real enemy is the clock. Every single second is valuable. And for you to get back into the game, you've got to find ways to gain possession of the ball, to score quickly, and to lengthen the game. What I want to do today is share with you 7 late game strategies that might help you do just that. The first one I want to talk about is creating jump balls. Look, because of the possession arrow, your team is going to get every other jump ball. This means that it is to your advantage to create as many jump ball opportunities as you can. Now, really quick, the key to this is not to go in with your hands like this, but the key is to go in with your hands like a football quarterback, with one hand above the ball and one hand below. Not only does this give you more leverage to rip the ball away from your opponent, but it's also going to eliminate unnecessary fouls. Most offensive players hold the ball this way. If you go in this way, chances are you're going to be on top of their hands, you're going to be able to foul. Coming in this way is going to let you get the ball without fouling. The second strategy is create more 5-second violations. Too many teams, their first reaction is get behind is foul right away. A lot of offensive teams anticipate being fouled. So when they inbound the ball, you'll see a lot of ball handlers just kind of stand there and wait to be fouled. This is a great opportunity to trap that ball handler and get a 5-second violation. And I also think it certainly wouldn't hurt to have one of your defenders count while you're trapping that ball handler. 1, 2, 3. Not only are you letting the official know that that 5-second count is coming up, but you're also trying to instill some panic in the ball handler so he might throw an errant pass, giving you a chance to steal it and attack the basket. The third strategy is to take charges. We all think of taking charges of stepping in front of someone driving to the basket, but there are other ways to do that as well. When you're on offense, if you are setting a pick on a defender and that defender hits you, then you can take the charge and draw the foul. Not only does this stop the clock, it gives you a chance to score from the free throw line. On a defensive standpoint, if someone is setting a pick on you and they are moving and they are not completely set, then that's an opportunity for you to take the charge during that time as well. And again, that gets your team possession of the ball and stops the clock. You have to rebound in late game situations. Teams that are ahead often slow the game down and don't run as much. This allows you to send 5 players to the offensive glass. Attack the offensive boards, try to get a putback, knowing that if the other team does rebound, they are probably going to slow it up anyway and not take advantage of you having everybody going after the rebound. From a defensive standpoint, you have to have the defensive rebound. If you're in a state that uses a shot clock, every offensive rebound you give up gives your opponent the opportunity to back the ball out and run another 30 seconds off the clock. Cannot give up any offensive rebounds in late game situations. Offensively, you need to drive hard to the basket. You've got to know that your opponent's coach has told his players, do not foul. We do not want to let them score from the free throw line. Do not foul. This means that when you drive hard to the basket, chances are you're not going to see as much resistance as you did in the earlier part of the game. You might be surprised to find out how many times you have a clear path to the basket. If you are fouled, even better. Now you have a chance to get to the free throw line, to score with the clock stopped, and then to get into your pressure defense after a dead ball situation. In order to come back, you have to understand how to foul for profit. There's two things involved in that. One, intentionally foul poor free throw shooters. We've recently seen this in the NBA playoffs with the Clippers, DeAndre Jordan, or with the Rockets, Dwight Howard. We used to see this when Shaquille O'Neal was playing. You don't have to wait until the last minute to foul. If you're behind late in the game, you can start this strategy early in the fourth quarter, giving your team a chance to gain possession of the ball and go down to score. It also means that in those situations, there are no free layups. If someone is going to score at the end of the game, you want them to shoot contested shots. Worst case scenario, they're shooting free throws instead of uncontested layups. You have to contest every shot to the basket. If they're going to beat you, they've got to beat you from the free throw line with the clock stopped. The last strategy in late game situations is you cannot give up a three. I've seen more teams lose games in the final couple minutes because they've given up a three than any other way. Unless you have a lights out shooter who can match that three the next time down the court, then realistically it's going to take your team 2 possessions to make up for that 1-3. Run people off the 3-point line. Don't drop off nearly as far. Understand that it's much easier to make up a 2 than it is a 3. Do not give up a 3 late game. That also goes for traditional threes. If you're stuck in the post or somebody's making a move to the basket and a foul is necessary, you need to make sure that his shooting hand is wrapped up and that he is not going to get that shot off and slop in the basket and get a 3. 3 points will kill you at the end of the game. Look, nobody wants to be behind at the end of the game. But if you will follow and implement these 7 strategies, and you'll work on them in practice so that everybody on your team knows exactly what to do in those situations, then it really is fairly easy to lengthen the game and to get back into the game just by being a little bit more prepared than your opponent is. Don't wait until you're in that situation before you start to think about it and start to prepare for it. Start planning for those situations from the very first day of practice, and you'll be surprised at how many comeback wins you'll be able to get.